common standard form of contracts worldwide. These are some major types of standard forms of contracts in use within the construction industry. The Joint Contracts Tribunal, also known as the JCT, produces standard forms of contract for construction, guidance notes and other standard documentation for use in the construction industry in the United Kingdom. JCT substantially revises and rewrites the family of forms every decade. The most recent suite is the 2016 version. Previous versions were dated 1998, 2005, 2009 amendments and 2011. These forms are considered to be the most popular construction contracts in use in the UK. They are major project form MP11, standard forms of building contract SB11, versions with and without quantities and with approximate quantities, intermediate forms of building contract S11, for use where a moderate level of detail is required but less than that required for complex building services work or in other specialist cases. Also intermediate building contract with contractor's design ICD, where the contractor takes on a portion of the design function. Others are minor works agreement M11, management contract M11, design and build contract D11, where the contractor has a greater level of responsibility for the design of a project than the design portion transferred to the contractor under the ICD contract above in construction management documentation. SBCC contracts are structured to suit different project scales and procurement methods. Construction contracts developed for use in Scotland, providing clear frameworks for project delivery, risk allocation, and legal compliance. SBCC contracts are structured to suit different project scales and procurement methods. There are various types of SBCC contracts. Standard building contract is for larger or more complex projects, similar in purpose to the JCT standard building contract, covering detailed specifications, schedules, and risk allocation. Design and build contract is design where the contractor is responsible for both design and construction, expected in the 2026 rollout of the 2024 editions. Other specialized contracts and guides are available for specific project types, and older editions, e.g. SBCC 2016, remain in use until the new editions are fully released. The NEC form of contract is a family of standardized contracts designed to promote good project management and clear legal relationships in construction and engineering projects. The new engineering contract NEC was first introduced in 1993 by the UK Institution of Civil Engineers to provide a clear, simple, and management-focused alternative to traditional construction contracts. NEC contracts are widely used in the UK, Hong Kong, and internationally for both public and private sector projects. They are designed to encourage collaboration, reduce disputes, and improve predictability in project outcomes. The ICE form of contract is a standard set of conditions produced by the UK Institution of Civil Engineers for civil engineering works, providing a framework for project management, payment, and dispute resolution. The ICE form of contract, originally known as the ICE Conditions of Contract, was developed to provide a formalized and consistent approach to civil engineering projects, dating back to 1945 and evolving through multiple revisions. It was republished as the Infrastructure Conditions of Contract ICC in 2011 to reflect modern practices and government guidance. The contract is widely used for both minor and complex civil engineering works, offering flexibility in procurement and risk allocation. FIDIC forms are standardized international contracts widely used in construction and engineering projects, designed to allocate risk fairly and provide a clear framework for project execution and dispute resolution. FIDIC Fédération Internationale des Ingénieurs Consuls is an international organization of consulting engineers that publishes standard forms of contracts for construction and engineering projects worldwide. These contracts are recognized for their structured approach, combining general conditions, fixed rules with particular conditions, project-specific modifications, allowing consistency across jurisdictions while accommodating local legal and project requirements. The Malaysian Institute of Architects Pertubuhan Architect Malaysia PAM form of contract for building works are by far the most often adopted standard forms of contract used for building works in the Malaysian private sector. PAM 2006 is the third generation of the PAM standard form, has been adapted greatly from the first generation version known as PAM 1969. The first edition was for practical purposes a lightly amended version of the JCT 1963 standard form of building contract. PAM 2006 comes in two versions, with quantities and without quantities, and it was launched on April 2007. The latest edition has received mixed reviews from the industry. Many consider it still to remain cluttered with deficiencies and glaring omissions which many construction and legal practitioners still consider difficult to comprehend and appear to have been carried through from earlier editions. Depending upon your point of view, you will either consider the latest edition of this form to be more balanced in respect of risk allocation or pro-contractor in comparison with earlier editions such as the second generation PAM 1998 version. There is now provision of elements of contractor's design in this version, which also places greater time constraints on both the contract administrator and contractor and the administration of the contract. In view that the PEM 2006 forms of contract were launched in 2007 and has been in use for more than 8 years, PEM, as a matter of good practice, decided to set up a contract review committee in August 2015 to review the PEM 2006 forms. The final draft was prepared and the PEM 2018 forms of contract with and without quantity and subcontract were launched on 11 April 2018. The objective was to improve the forms, taking into consideration of the feedback from the stakeholders and changes in the industry. AIC Standard Form of Contracts SSC is a suite of standard form contracts that are customizable and freely available for print and download. AIC SSC was inspired by the prevalent issues plaguing the Malaysian construction industry, aimed at filling the gaps of existing standard form building contracts in governing relationships, rights and duties of parties to building construction projects. It is user-friendly, uses simple language and includes clear provisions to guide users in interpreting the contract. AIC SSC is Malaysia's first ever CIBRA-compliant suite of building contracts and contains more mechanisms for parties to resolve disputes and deadlocks, including mediation, encouraging parties to continue work despite disputes, while preserving parties' rights till completion. The 2018 edition of AIC Minor Works and Design and Build Contracts and 2019 edition of the Standard Form of Building Contracts derive from the original 2017 editions and are reflective of the name change recently undergone by the AIC, formerly known as KLRCA. While retaining the original guiding principles set out in the original 2017 edition, AIC's 2018 and 2019 editions include enhancements that have clarity, strength and integrity, and clear any ambiguity insofar as obligations and accountability of parties are concerned. GKR standard forms are issued by Debat and Kerja GKR and their PWD Form 203 Referendum/2010. PWD Form 203 Referendum/2010, PWD Form 203 M Referendum/2010, PWD Form 203 Referendum/2010 and PWD Form D Referendum/2010. These are the traditional forms of contract based on drawings and specification 203 or bills of quantities 203 are produced for use in public sector or government projects in both building and civil engineering contracts. PWD forms of contract is perceived to be more beneficial to the employer where a majority of risks are rest upon the contractor. We have come to the end of this module introduction of standard form of contracts. We hope you professionals or students will benefit from this presentation, and please check out for our next module.